Welcome back to Cal Park Bros. Jason and I are fresh off the segment, wondering if the Golden State Warriors may have caught a break or two based off the demise of the Phoenix Suns. In the last segment of the show, we're going to talk about some Marvel movies. And full disclosure, some of these we have not seen. As a matter of fact, a majority of these I have not seen. Jason's probably seen more of them than I have. And this is really based off an article from BuzzFeed where basically it's calling out the bottom 10, the 10 worst movies in the last decade for Marvel. So let's see here. Now it's funny. Venom is in here twice. Number 10 and then at number 5. And what's funny is I've never seen either one of them, even though I swear I'm a big Tom Hardy fan.
Now, is that because you don't want to see them, or you just haven't made time to see them yet?
Could it be a little bit of both? I just I don't get the Spider-Verse, dog. Like I don't get it. It's not like what I would consider to be like legit MCU. And
Because
I
it's not.
just and for me, I just would rather allocate my time elsewhere. My sister swears the first Venom is amazing. So at some point I will have to get around and just check it out. Right? But yeah, other than that,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's never
Yeah.
been my cup of tea. But I was gonna say the list does have a few surprising ones. I mean, this is one I've absolutely seen. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Most people like the Garfield movies.
I wasn't a fan of the first one, but this one, yeah, this one, I'm, I can understand it being on the list based off it was only 10, but I would be fine if it wasn't on this list. I like this one better than the first one. I like the villain. Obviously, I don't I have a feeling you didn't. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I liked Electro. I didn't like the idea. A lot of people seem to feel like that was a very thin villain story. Like you can kind of tell, like in a movie where like the villain has a lot of compelling things about him or her, but they didn't flesh it out. I don't think they fleshed it out as well as I would have hoped. It was giving me some Arnold Schwarzenegger from Batman and Robin vibes.
Hmm. Now, I think
Now,
you and I both will agree, though, that number 8, X Men Apocalypse. Yeah, I saw the movie. I'm gonna guess you didn't. Um, I'll go ahead and tell you now. Don't bother. Um, Save yourself a couple hours of your life. Don't waste your time. It's definitely a point of the lineage of X Men movies that should not have been made after the original three, and that's going to be relative based off of other movies on this list. Because you mentioned Venom's on the list twice. There's 3 X Men movies on this list. 3. X Men Apocalypse at number 8. New Mutants at 6, which I think that should be a lot higher on this list. I didn't even see it. I know it sucked. Um, and number 4, X Men Dark Phoenix. I actually just watched X Men Dark Phoenix yesterday for the first time. Um, I I feel like the Dark Phoenix story is a good one to tell. I feel like this movie just didn't do a good job of telling it. Um, they again another one of the lineage of action movies after the original 3. Probably should have kept it in the tank. And somebody's thoughts. Did you see this one? Did you see? I know you didn't see New Mutants because you're smart. Did you see Dark Phoenix
I haven't watched the X-Men movie.
since the original 3?
I felt like I did not see Apocalypse all the way through. Caught snippets of it, but I just can't bring myself
To
to
waste your
go
time?
to go through this again, dude, because I know it's not going to be what I needed to be. Days of Future Past was so good, at least in relation to this.
Yep.
that if you can at least do it to the level of Days of Future Past, then don't bother. Don't waste my time.
Now, I will say, folks, that is probably the one exception of the X Men movies after the original three, because that movie's not on this list for a reason. So I agree, that was a good movie. Um, Number 7 on the list is Eternals. I'm pretty sure you and I both can agree the pacing of the movie was terrible. The jumping around back and forth, telling stories here and there was probably unnecessary the way they did it. And I feel like the connection to the MCU, because this wasn't an MCU movie, folks. This was MCU. This is Phase 4 all completely. Came out in 2021. I feel like the connection to the MCU movies wasn't there. They mentioned Iron Man and Steve Rogers a couple of times, but other than that, they had better references to Superman in this movie than anything in the MCU. So I feel like this movie is definitely something that should be on the list and should be a lot higher. I'm sure you agree, correct?
I don't. I didn't mind Eternals. I know a lot of people were pissed off about that movie. Your point about the pacing. It's a long ass movie, dog. It's a long ass action movie, and you have to be really, really buttoned up to even get remotely away with being a 3 hour action movie.
Well, I don't mind longer movies like that if there's a reason for it to be that long. Avengers Endgame. I don't know if it was 3 hours, but it was pretty long. But there was a reason why it was. It was telling the end of a story, the end of Phase 3. So there was a reason why it was that long, and it was fine. Yeah, this nah. Salma Hayek, glad to see you and doing something, but wish you hadn't done this. Um, Moved on to the the bottom three. Number 3 was one of the movies I also did not see. Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, the sequel to the original Ghost Rider. I didn't bother seeing this because I'm like, the first one wasn't that good enough for it to get a sequel in the first place. So I
I've
didn't see
never
it.
even
I'm going to
seen the
go ahead and
first.
go on a limb and say, yeah, well,
I've
there
never
you
even
go.
seen the
E-
first Ghost Rider.
well, once again, save your time. It was a waste. Eva Mendes, again, much like Semi Hayek, I loved seeing her in it. I wish she would come back to acting, but I understand why she's gone. But yeah, but that first movie, Nicolas Cage does not need to be a Marvel character. I'm sorry. No offense. He's a good act. He has good acting credits to his name. Yeah, he's just not a Marvel character. I'm sorry. They could have. They should have. I think that's really probably the worst part of the movie is that was the worst. The storyline was horrible. The acting, the computer graphics or computer animation, whatever you want to call it, terrible. Horror movies, and I can imagine the sequel is probably even worse based off just even the snippet of words in this article. It's probably the worst. I can get it. Well, it's not the worst based off this list. So since you didn't see it, won't have to go too much into that one. Um, Number 2 was probably the most recent Marvel movie at the time of the article, anyway. Morbius, released in 2022, is number 2. Did you see this, Terrence?
I didn't see Morbius, and I have no earthly good reason to not see it. It's just like, it is yet. I have this general hesitancy when I feel like, okay, this is you got your own little Spider Verse over here. I can't rock with it.
So, and good point though. So, those who haven't seen it, spoiler, because it's been more than a week. There is going to be this. This is the other MCU movie on this list. There is a connection to the MCU. They're making it clear there's going to be a connection to the next Spider-Man movie. Again, spoiler. It's been a week. Don't care. I thought the movie was actually pretty good. I'm the most shocked by this movie. It won't be on the list and it being number 2. Very surprised. I like the movie. I like the Morbius character from the cartoons and everything. So maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know, but the fact that this is number 2 shocked me deeply.
I'm shocked and
La-
appalled.
well, I mean, I don't want to go as far as appalled because, to be honest with you, even though I liked it, I can see why some people didn't like it. Um, it gave off some vibes. Is it trying to be like a horror movie? I didn't watch it that way, so I didn't take too much offense to it. But apparently, that's what people didn't like. That it was more of a horror movie film, but it wasn't scary as it wasn't supposed to. Supposed to tell his origin story and bring him into the MCU. So there's that. 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is god awful, but only topped by one movie. The number one movie on the list, folks, is the remake of the Fantastic Four movie from 2015. Got a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Terrence, have you seen this movie?
No, but I had heard some people try and defend it, and I was like, yeah, it's not ripe yet.
I'm gonna
It's not
roast it
ripe
soon. I'm gonna roast it as soon as you're done. So take your time.
yet. I like all the actors in this movie. You know, Miles Teller, of course, you got why is why am I blanking out on his name? Killmonger.
Really, bro?
Yeah, yeah, I'm having a blank.
Same name, similar name as a basketball player from Chicago, where he played the basketball player played in Chicago.
I still got nothing. Craig
Michael
Hodges.
B. Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah, dude.
bro.
Uh, it would have been funnier if his name actually was Craig B. Hodges.
Okay, so I watched this movie yesterday. Again, trying to watch some of these movies I hadn't seen for the show. This movie got obviously 9% Rotten Tomatoes. This movie got horrible reviews and opinions and takes from almost anybody who's seen it. Within the first 15 minutes of the movie, I knew automatically what they were talking about. Easily, this is the worst movie Marvel ever could have made, probably ever, even if we went back even more than 10 decades or more than 10 years. The acting was horrible. Talk about caricatures. They made Victor Von Doom in this character look like the fucking lady from Superman 2 got metaled out at the end and got destroyed by Superman. That's how bad that costume was. And this movie came out in 2015, not 1978. Every attempt they made at humor missed. You can tell they were trying, but it was drier than stuff I won't say on air. Ben Grimm's character, same thing as Victor Von Doom. The character from the original Fantastic Four looked more like, the Thing than this character did.
Got it. I
They
wouldn't mind
tried.
Michael
No, no, no,
Chiklis
no, no,
in
no, no,
the same
no, 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 no. I'm not done. So the storytelling, they tried too hard to remake it and tell the story differently than the first one, which took it too far away from the comics, in my opinion, too far away from the original, where it made no sense whatsoever. They made no explanation, and maybe I missed it because I was so bored. They made no explanation as to why Michael B. Jordan has a black father and his sister's white. No connection there whatsoever. They just threw that stuff in there like, hey, you know what? We don't have to explain this. It's 2015. We're going to make it make sense. Well, they didn't. Miles Teller. Much like Nicolas Cage, this guy should not be a Marvel character. Nothing about him strikes me as, oh, he played a Marvel character. Which one? Reed Richards. Oh, okay, whatever. This movie's about an hour and 40-ish minutes. It I think it was that long. It took them almost half of that to get to the point of when these people get their powers. And then even then, they spent more time with these guys like in internment camps, basically, trying to steal their powers and stuff like that. This movie was the worst movie ever, and I wish Marvel could forget it. The fact that they were actually going to make a sequel to this before they canceled it blew me away. Thank goodness they did not. Thank goodness this is not part of the MCU, and it's the worst ever. Now, real quick, I would throw this in here for all the movies we said that should be on this list. I have three other candidates, real quick, that could replace these movies. Iron Man 3,
Oh.
they could have let it go. Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, nah, miss me, dog. And as much as I love Wolverine, the Logan movie, pass. I love Wolverine, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I've never even watched Logan, but you basically saying, "Hey, it can go on this. It can be on this list too." Makes me want to check it out to see what a dumpster fire it might be.
Well, keep in mind, even though it's more about Wolverine, it's still like an X-Men movie. Even the movie The Wolverine, I thought was better than Logan.
Oh wow!
And anybody that, yeah, most people hate that Wolverine movie, but it was better than his Logan movie. So
Yeah. Uh, yeah. If nothing else, a list like this of 10 Marvel movies that they feel is abysmal, it makes you start realizing, like, okay, what else belongs in this dumpster?
now I will say this though, it'll be interesting to see what list comes out 10 years from now. If they want to say, okay, what are the worst Marvel movies in the last 20 years, 10 years from now? Because these Phase 4 movies, I know are going to be hit or miss with a lot of people. So I'll be interested to see which one of these Phase 4 movies, which we're still in, by the way, we still have more coming, are going to supplant some of these on the list currently. Like I said, we got another Black Panther coming out, another Captain Marvel coming. I'm drawing a blank on what else is coming in this year. Um, but yeah, as a matter of fact, I can tell you. But oh yeah, another Thor movie, another Black
Love and
Panther,
Thunder, Love and Thunder,
Craven,
baby.
a Craven the Hunter movie, which another Ant Man.
That's another Spider Verse one, isn't it?
Yes, Ant Man, another Ant Man movie, and another Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's gonna be the rest of Phase 4. So we'll see what happens. I honestly, I really hope to goodness they do Black Panther well, given that the main character is now deceased, and that's coming later this year. And Black Panther, the first one, was my favorite movie of all time. I don't think Black Panther 2 will be in the top anything. I just hope they do this right. So,
Yeah. Here's hoping that they don't fuck that up. You want to talk about the stakes being high? Man, Chadwick's going to haunt you for the rest of your days if you guys fuck this up.
I'll be there front row.
Yeah. All right. That concludes our take on some of the 10 worst Marvel movies in this decade, according to the Screen Rant. And with that, we'll wrap up the show.